Targeting DoorDash drivers in California. Stanford police tell CBS 2's Tony Aiello it delivered nearly $1 million.
The investigation started with a report of a domestic dispute involving a gun at this Stanford apartment building.
We were searching the apartment for the firearm and noticed several stacks of loose cash around the apartment, about 100 payment cards not in the suspect's name or in the victim's name, and a couple of fake IDs.
Investigator Vanessa Lynn says cops eventually found more than $700,000 stuffed in various lockboxes, alleged proceeds of a complex scam targeting DoorDash drivers in California.
You place an order on DoorDash, the driver's information comes up and there's a way to contact them.
Police say 21-year-old David Smith used technology to send text messages to drivers that appeared to come from DoorDash, then convinced drivers to submit login information to an official-looking but fake DoorDash support website, giving him access to drivers' accounts.
And then he would change the banking information that the DoorDash driver had on there for their direct deposits to a payment card that he had fraudulently obtained.
The arrest warrant says the scheme began in 2020 when Smith was just 18. In a statement, DoorDash calls this an egregious and appalling crime. We regularly remind drivers to keep their account information secure and share tips on how to avoid these type of attacks. Police believe Smith targeted drivers all the way in California, thinking distance would make it harder to investigate the alleged fraud. 700 drivers lost money. The good news is much of that money was recovered, so they can expect at least partial restitution eventually. In Stanford, Tony Aiello, CBS.
There is an update on this case. Apparently, David Smith, 22, was shot and killed Monday, January 6, 2025. As you may know, Smith was accused of stealing almost $1 million in an elaborate DoorDash scam in California. He was due in court Wednesday to accept or reject an offer in the case. Instead, the case will be dismissed after the courts learned of Smith's death. Smith had recently turned down a different plea deal that would have gave him 5 years in prison. So Smith moved to Mount Vernon, New York, after moving from Connecticut after his initial arrest in June of 2023. 4 people have been arrested. Ali Muhammad, 21, Marquise Williamson, 21, of Newark, New Jersey, Amari O'Neill, 21, and Anthony Webster, 20, all from Mount Vernon, New York. Some DoorDash drivers who lost multiple paychecks, and some even reported they were unable to get back into their accounts and literally had to quit due to the havoc Smith wreaked on their accounts. In my personal opinion, my personal experience, I've never worked for DoorDash, but I've worked for Uber Eats, and I've had multiple scammers reach out to me, and they would basically place an order, and once you get there, they'll cancel it and tell you that, because of the cancellation, they will reimburse you with $15, but they need your account information. That automatically brought up a red flag for me, and I was like, no, I don't think so. And of course they get very hostile, whatever, but just don't fall for these scams out here. And apparently this happened in California, so I guess most of the investigators were able to recover most of the money, so some of the people did get reimbursed in California. Thank you for listening.